Yo,
Yo,
what's up?
what up, homie?
Uh,
Sorry, I had to switch over Wi-Fi.
no, no worries, dude.
What'd you have for dinner?
I had Haley made shepherd's pie, which was amazing.
Ooh, nice. Amanda made some kind of Spanish dish, baked chicken, rice, cheese, onions. It was pretty good.
Man, I was saying rice or chicken and rice tonight, but I've had that like three days in a row. So Haley's something different. Uh, man, thanks. We You and I talked last night a little bit,
Yep.
and so appreciate you doing this with me. This is kind of our idea we came up with, and
Yeah.
just want to talk a little bit about everything going on in our perspective from the NASCAR side. More or less, like for me, I want to hear your perspective, just so I can continue to learn and grow. And I think, like, I guess to get it started for me, I knew growing up racing and was hard enough winning races and coming up through the ranks, what it takes to get to the
Yep.
top level.
Yep.
Um, as a white guy, how hard that was for me, but I can't imagine what you faced, and I just kind of want to hear your stories, if you feel like sharing, or what that was like for you, and whatever you want to talk about, man. I just want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think aside from motorsports and everybody, it's crazy when they're young, they're so competitive. And we're all racing hard against each other, right? We raced hard in Bandoleros and Legend Cars against each other, and we had a blast doing it. And then like you kind of figured out like what path that they were going to take, and then you would start to get more familiar. We would race together in late models, K&N cars, the whole shebang. Um, but the struggles, it's funny. I've kind of carried that up until this point, and it's something light switch kind of, and I'll get into why it's kind of switched over, and I've become more vocal about it here in a little bit. But growing up and racing, it wasn't too bad. But I was also young, and I didn't know. I was the kid that one downfall I have of my career is that I never spent enough time in the shop working on the cars, right? Um, so I couldn't tell you how to change something, but I'll be vocal on what I need changed. Like I want my car to turn better, right?
Yeah, totally. I know what you mean.
To what part changes that? I don't know. That's up to you guys. That's what you guys get paid for. But I was always at the racetrack to have fun, and then we just ended up racing. I remember um, playing football minutes before our go-kart race and being late to the grid, getting yelled at by my dad. It was just I was just there to race,
Yeah,
and we would have our run-ins with people, and I just thought it was racing deals, and it could have been, some could have been, but some could have been more racial tension. But what I'm getting at is I didn't pay attention to it, and I was just told to go out and race the next weekend and go out and win, and that's all I knew how to do.
yeah,
So the first instance that kind of came about, I'm trying to remember. Um, I don't really remember. I think it was Legend Cars at Lanier, actually. It was, no, I won't name any names or anything, but the guy we were racing with, and we had raced hard all year long, wrecked each other a lot, and got wrecked. I got wrecked leading, I think it was green, white, checkered for the semi-pro nationals down at Lanier, and I got wrecked leading. And I rode by to the team hauler. They were parked in the infield. You raced Lanier, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So half the field was parked inside, half was on the outside. We were on the outside, but rolling back around, I gave the whole team standing on top of that hauler. They were number one, right?
yeah,
So we get back to the hauler. I'm pissed, crying. We were close. We were fast and just got dumped. Didn't
yeah,
even get a chance to make the corner. So um, I got back to the hauler, and we were sitting there talking, and my group of people, they were like, well, it just turned worse because such and such dad just called you a N-word. And before that person even finished that sentence, my dad was running across the track where the race was going on,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and that upset me. Just I'm not a violent person. I don't like confrontation at all, and that was tough to see, and that was all handled and put behind us. Whatever. that was kind of the first instance I seen of it. And I was old enough. I was 13, and I kind of knew,
Yeah.
understood it at that point. Fast forward to the UARA days. We were racing against Kyle Grissom, and he didn't have anything to do with this. It was actually an official. Kyle and I got together, turn one or something, ended up getting spun around, and he was like 5 times bigger than me. He still is like 5 times bigger. You know, Kyle, he's big. His dad.
Yeah.
And I walked down there. I said, next time you get around me, I'm putting your shit in the wall, just like that. And shook his hand. He grabbed me and pulled me in. And I'm like, uh-oh, this ain't good. And I got away and walked off. I was the fiery kid. You knew me. I didn't care. I was going to, say what I had to say or dump your ass the next week.
Yeah.
And we come back, and another official walked up to us, and he was like, I'm really sorry to say this, but one of the officials, I had heard one of the officials say that N-word wrecked you to the Grissom team. And it was like, what? And Dad was like, all right, well, that's our last race in this series. So either you guys fire him on the spot or you'll never see us again. And about 30 minutes down the road, they were like, all right, we fired him. So hopefully we'll see you at next week's race. And, they didn't put up with it. They respected me a lot, and I respected them. Kerry Bodenhammer and Wink and all them, they were awesome people. And, so that was coming from the sanctioning body. And just two competitors getting into it, and the official had to jump into it and run his mouth. So I've dealt with that. And nowadays it's the people that have the egg filter or the egg picture as their avatar, so you don't know what they look like. It's just keyboard warriors that run their mouth, and it could be little kids, it could be grown people, who knows. But I get stuff all the time. I'm only here because I'm black. If it wasn't for the diversity program, I wouldn't be here. And it's funny because before I joined the program, I had signed on with JGR. Who knows what the future will be with them? But it wasn't like it was diversity program and then JGR. It was JGR. So it's tough to say. I know why I'm here. I'm competitive. I know how to drive, and no one's ever going to take that away from me. But it's every day. It's every day on my mentions that that I am here because I'm black, and it's to the point where I just laugh now because they have no idea. It's when a hub failure breaks and you hit the wall, they're like, it's just another black guy that can't drive. Get out of the sport. It's like, I have no control over that stuff. It's just people have no clue. And I spent so much time over the past couple of years worrying about that and wanting to get my point across on why certain things happen. But it just there's no need for it. There's no need to waste my time explaining my side of the story because they will never understand it because they're simple-minded. So, outside of the race car, I haven't had much to go on, and I guess I can credit that to my fame and who I am, which isn't right. I'm not saying like that's right. I mean, I will take the 3 out of 20 times I've been pulled over, I've only gotten 3 tickets. I'll thank you. I will take that. But, some of it's been like, hey, man, good luck next week. Or some of it's just been, hey, here's a warning, slow down or whatever. But the couple times I have been pulled over have been bad.
Yeah.
And I shared this story with Dale, and I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to be on this podcast tomorrow. But in 2011, I was going to see, you remember Sergio Pena?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going up, it was, I don't know what, well, I think it was summer or something right after school year or whatever. I was going up there, stay with him for a couple days. And on the way up 77, like you're going to Bristol, got pulled over there in Virginia and had just got my car clean. I had a Toyota 4Runner on 22s, blacked out. Like, it was nice.
Yeah.
I love that car. I miss that car. But got pulled over, and he was like, hey, you failed to use your turn signal getting over. And I'm like, okay. And so he runs my stuff and realizes that I'm good, and he comes back and hands me my license. But then he's like, there's a lot of nice cars driving up and down these roads, carrying a lot of guns, drugs, and and money. You don't have anything, do you?" And I'm like, "No, sir, I don't." Car was spotless on the inside. He's like, "Well, we're going to search your car." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm pissed. I'm livid.
Yeah.
And, and had me go stand 30 yards away while three other cops came up and searched my car. And come to find out there was nothing. They were like, "He was all right, have a good day." And
Well,
so, yeah, he uses it's the way, and that's the thing that people fail to realize. It's how people say things to the
yeah.
African American community and stuff like that. I got pulled over recently. This was 2 years ago, a year ago. Undercover cop pulled out in front of me. I'm doing 50 and 45. Pulls out 10 feet ahead of me. I slam on brakes and undercover car. So I run up on its bumper, like about to hit him, and honk the horn. Throws on his flashers, and so I'm like, all right, well, they're not going. They're going 20 right now. So coast is clear. I pull over, or I go around and cross the WL line. Come up at the light. Three cops get out, guns drawn. Not pointed at me. Not pointed at me.
Yeah.
But had their guns out of their holsters and were like, "I advise you to pull over here in this parking lot." And I was like, all right, had police on undercover, like old beat up car too. And I was like, wow, okay. It's like some bounty hunter stuff.
Yeah.
So then this is where I'm getting at with how they say it. So go and pull over, and I'm pissed because I could have gotten it disputed and whatnot because they pulled out in front of me, whatever. And sitting there driving a Lexus, nice car. Um, and he's like, "Is this your car?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you afford this car?"
Oh my God.
And I said, "Yes, sir, I can," with an attitude.
Yeah.
And I think about that moment every time. And if I really wanted to snap and show, I guess, the black side, I could have said, "Yeah, and I can afford one for you and every person in your family too." But I didn't, you know, because who knows what would happen then? They would
Mhm.
have got pissed, could have got drug out of the car and whatnot. So it's the way people say things,
Yeah.
and that's what triggers African American people because we're all the same. We don't need the underlying smart remarks like, "Can you afford this car?" You don't know me from Adam's cat, bro. You
Yeah.
don't know what I do. I could tell you my salary numbers right now,
Yeah.
but piss me off thinking about it. But outside of the racetrack, I deal with that stuff, and I guess it's been a couple years, but it's tough, and I think about things like you're not brought in this world to hate. You're brought in neutral. You don't know anything, and I
Yeah.
feel like you're taught to hate people based off of certain things, skin color, the way people look, and it's sad. I had two sides. I had my black family and my white family, and I never questioned the difference. They were family to me, so it was it was a little, I wouldn't say easier for me, but growing up in both scenarios, my family is my family's crazy. Everybody has their own stories about their family. Nobody's family's perfect. I realize that now that I'm 27.
Yeah.
Everybody's family has drama, but yeah, there was a lot. My mom told me a lot of things that my dad's side of the family had done to her, and that was tough to hear. And we talk about that stuff nonstop. And now we can sit there and laugh at it because it happened so long ago. But my mom, my dad's family, would treat her differently, and that was tough. And like I said, this was before I was even born, so a long time ago. But yeah, it's you wish it could all change, and like with a snap of the fingers. But I'm afraid that it's going to take so much more than that. And I don't believe that the violent riots and looting is the way to go. I think that's just like a cop out for people to go get what they want without paying for it. But I do understand the anger, the frustration, the pain that the African American community is going through. And I'm not saying it's the African American community the only ones that are looting and whatnot, because we've seen the outlets, and it's everybody that is a part of this. And and it's just sad to see that we're taking, I say we because we're all, one, we are taking other people's lives and businesses over something like it's not solving anything. I seen a man, I think it was in LA, African American man, and older, I would say 65 to 70. I'd have to find that video. I have to send it to you if you haven't seen it. He's yelling during the daylight in the streets, "Why are y'all doing this?" Tears, snot running. Why
Yeah,
are y'all destroying? Y'all destroyed my building. I came from nothing. I came from where you guys were, and y'all destroyed my building, burnt it to the ground. And that broke my heart because you sit there and realize we're taking we're, we're, we're taking people's livelihoods away from them, and that's not the right message that we're trying to get across.
yeah,
So that was tough to see, but
yeah,
man, it's what really sparked me to be vocal. I don't know if you had seen the Ahmaud Arbery video.
yeah, yeah. I saw that the run with Mod
Yeah,
hashtag. I did a run for that. That was so upsetting
yeah.
to
I was sitting right here. I was playing Call of Duty actually with some buddies, and my cousin had posted it to his Instagram account. It was some link, and I clicked on it, and I was like, "Oh, what's this about?" I could see like it was another African American kid being killed, and so I clicked on it, uh, and I seen that video, and I went to I got off the game. I stopped playing. Didn't even tell them bye. I stopped playing, and I sat up here. This was like at midnight when I seen it. And I sat up here, I think, till about 1:30, rewatching that video over and over again, and my heart was broken, and I was so mad at just how that went down, and just hearing the gunshots. I can replay it in my head, and it was so sad to see. Um, that that changed me on how vocal I need to be about things, and I apologize to people that look up to me for those reasons. But before we're in a tough spot. I got into a little Twitter battle with the guy last night, and I actually ended up sending him a message privately and just talked to him and heard his side of things. And that was kind of the right way to go about it. But I was just so fired up. I raced with a lot of anger yesterday over everything that's going on, and it carried over. And I still have some anger inside of me, but we talked, and as much as all lives matter, your life matters to me, just as vice versa. And Black lives do matter, and I'm not discrediting that at all. Um, we are treated differently, and that's the sad thing. And I hate that my words got kind of uh, thrown around and misconstrued. Like how I said it, I wasn't trying to discredit that and take away the Black Lives Matter movement, because I stand behind that 100%. What I am telling you, you've never been pulled over and guns drawn on you, have you?
oh,
Exactly. So there's a difference there. So it's something that, like I said earlier, I don't know how it's going to change, but peaceful protesting, and maybe people's thoughts on burning up buildings and tearing down cities is the only way that they're going to get their point across.
yeah,
I hear that because we have been crying out for help for so many years, right?
yeah,
And nothing's happened. It's a tweet from whoever, and then it goes quiet. That's it. It goes south. So the more voices, the better.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you do such a good job of being a leader in NASCAR, just on this subject. And I mean, I've known you since we were 13.
Yeah.
We've raced against each other for that long, and you were a stud from the beginning. Everyone knew you're going to NASCAR,
Yep.
uh, and just growing with you in life as both of our lives have gone on, and just the way that we've kind of connected back at this point, not just in NASCAR, but a point of like our hearts have kind of grown in the same direction.
Yep. For sure. For
Just
sure.
I something that you and I probably are on the same page about is that just the all we have is what we have right now to talk about. And I feel like your heart's in the same place. As it doesn't matter how many races you and I get to win, or championship ships we end up winning by the end of our life.
Yep.
if we don't speak up on the things that matter and use what we've been given through our talents in racing, to try to make change in the world and to love other people, it doesn't matter to us. You
Yep.
know, it'll be all for naught. And I just appreciate your honesty, and your transparency. And man, I never knew those stories, that had happened to you.
Yep.
And just knowing you as a person, that's a complete utter shock that anybody, a cop, would even look and think of you that way. To me, that just seems so strange. And I know that that's the pain I'm seeing on TV. That's the hurt I'm seeing in so many people, that maybe I never understood.
Yeah.
Uh, but now, my heart is so broken. And just like Dr. King said, like, I'm so for protesting, because protesting is the voice of the unheard, and something has to be done. And of course, we don't want violence and people tearing down businesses and people's livelihoods, obviously, but there's so much hurt in this world in general. And I think, people are, things need to change, and it's time for us to speak out,
Yep.
use the platforms that we have. You and I have NASCAR, and the people here that follow us, that love what we do. But for some people, we're all leaders in some type of way.
Yep.
And whether it's you're a NASCAR driver, or you run a business, or you just have your family at home,
Yep.
your two kids, we're all leaders. Um, and it's how we choose to lead and leave our lives. And I just appreciate you, being a leader for NASCAR in this. And I know you and I, we've there's been conversations, back and forth, and trying to figure out how we can paint a better picture, going forward.
Hmm.
And like you said, no one really knows what change is going to look like, but it's definitely not something to sit back and see if it happens. I think it's time for conversations like this to happen across the country in every community. There's no community that should be exempt.
Yep.
And just so we educate each other, so we can love each other more and understand each other more. And just total respect and love for your heart. And I love that, you're speaking out, and I've got your back 100%. And
Appreciate that.
hope I can, help lead the people that follow us, at least. And
Yeah.
we can make a small change, and little ripples end up becoming big waves one day. So
Yeah, I like that. I like that for sure. Yeah, you're right. I think, I wish our community, sport community, was more vocal. And who knows what will happen in the next couple of days. But now is the best time ever for our sport to kind of get back on track and head in the right direction. So I know we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes to change the narrative, but it takes all of us. It doesn't just take a couple of us. So yeah, we'll see. But time is of the essence, and it's time to stand up for what's right and to not be tone deaf and turn an eye away. And I am new to all this, kind of being vocal and making sure I say the right things, and that's hard for me because when I'm pissed, I just go off and rant,
yeah,
and I got to backtrack. So this stuff is different when you're talking about something that is more on a global level, that represents so many more people than just your race car being tight and you can't get it to turn after 5 races in a row.
yeah,
This is something that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. So the amounts of things that need to go into change is going to be a lot, and I think this is just the beginning of it. So um, just keep praying, and something good will come out of it, I believe. And it's just sad times, that it still goes on. We're in 2020, and people ask me, what do you envision by 2020? Flying cars. That's what I said when I was young. uh,
yeah,
not this COVID-19, and uh, not this social injustices that we're dealing with right now. So it's tough, but it is our job and our duty to be leaders, like you said, and we're a leader in our own way. You're a leader of your group. I'm a leader of mine and your group. I mean, your fans, your family, people that look up to you. You're a leader of them, and your message is important to them. And the same for me. And and one day, hopefully, we'll all become one and see each other as brother and sister. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, totally. Well, man, thank you. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put you on the spot here if you don't mind.
you're good.
I'm gonna say a prayer if that's
Yeah,
cool.
let's do it. And my hair's bad, so don't judge.
This too, man. I'm losing.
I'll give you some. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
No
do it.
doubt. Yeah. Lord, I just thank you for Bubba. I just thank you for his heart and speaking out for things that aren't right in this world and standing up for the Black community. God, we just ask that you bring justice across this country, across the world, heal broken hearts, God, and just move people's focus from love of self to love of you, love of Jesus. That's the only way that things are going to change. You are the healer of this world, and we believe that you're going to do great things in this world. So we just hope that this small ripple turns into a big wave of change in our communities. And just thank you for your son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Appreciate that, brother.
Amen. Have a nice night. Looking
All right.
forward to seeing you on Dale's podcast too.
Yeah, that'll be good. Appreciate it, man. Have a good night.
Amen.